agency world right now is telling you to productize, and I'll admit I've said it a few times myself. Take your service, turn it into a neat little product, fixed scope, fixed price, buy it off the shelf, and honestly, for a lot of you, I think that advice is going to do real damage. Because there are two completely different things hiding inside that one word, productize. And almost nobody selling you a productized course bothers to separate them. One of them lets you actually scale, the other turns your business into a commodity. And commoditized businesses are a race to the bottom. I built and sold a creative agency that was never a productized service. Not in the way that I mean it. So let me give you my version of this, because it's the difference between an agency that scales and one that races itself to the bottom. Okay, before I start, a quick bit of context. I spent 13 years building my agency up to 2.2 million a year in revenue before I sold it in 2020. And since then, I've worked with well over 100 agency owners, and productize your agency might be the single most common piece of advice that I am seeing thrown about right this second. And for most people, it's the wrong advice. Some of it though is genuinely brilliant. A lot of it is going to hurt the wrong agency badly. The whole problem is that one word is being used to mean two completely different things, and the difference between them is absolutely everything. When most people say productize, they mean productize the service, the actual thing that the client buys. Take your branding, your marketing, whatever it is, and turn it into a fixed package that fits neatly into a little box. A logo for a set price, a website in 10 days for a flat fee. Everyone gets the same thing in this nice little package. And I get why it's tempting. It's easier to sell, it's easier to scope, it's easier to scale. On a spreadsheet, it looks perfectly fine. But what you've actually done to get the work into that box, you've had to strip out the strategy, the thinking, the senior judgment, the exact stuff that justified your higher price in the first place. And the moment your work is in a box, the client can suddenly do something they could never do before. They can compare it against, and they can price shop against it with the agency down the road selling the same for less. You've made yourself a commodity, and commodities only ever compete on one thing. That's price. That's a race that I genuinely never wanted to be a part of, and it's the opposite of what made my agency worth buying when we sold it. So if the gurus mean productize the service, my answer is honestly, don't even think about it. Not if you want to stay premium. Here's what I would do instead, and this is the bit that everybody else seems to leave out. You don't productize the service, you productize the system. On the outside, to the client, the work stays exactly what it should be. Led by value and strategy, made for them, premium, the senior thinking they're actually paying for, that never goes into this little box. That's your margin, that's your moat, and you have to protect it. But on the inside, behind the scenes in your agency, where the client never sees anything, you make the way you deliver it completely repeatable. I mean, the entire process. Every project runs through, the steps, the checkpoints, the handoffs, the templates, the quality bar that will never go below. You systemize all of it so the same high standard comes out the other end every single time, whether you're leading it or somebody else in your business is doing so. The client experiences something that is made just for them. It's bespoke. Your business runs on rails. That right there is the whole productization game. And just so you know how far this can run, these days, a huge chunk of my own internal system is handled by AI. I shared a video just a few weeks ago on this, so I'll not disappear down that rabbit hole right now. The point holds at any level though. Whether your system is a folder of checklists or a fully automated setup, you systemize the delivery, you never ever systemize the value. So why does productizing the system but not the service work so well? Because you get three things at the exact same time that normally pull against each other. Firstly, you keep your prices high because the client is still buying the strategy and the judgment, not a templated product off a shelf that they could get from anyone else. You get consistency because the work runs through a process now, not through your memory and your late nights and your hard effort. The quality doesn't dip because you take a week off or your eyes off a project. The system just works. And you get something you can actually manage. When your delivery is a system, you can measure it. You can see where it leaks margin, and you can see ultimately where it breaks. You can hand it to a team and trust that you will get the same output on the other end. And importantly, you can improve it deliberately. You cannot manage something that only exists in your memory and lands a bit differently every single time. You can absolutely manage a system. So if you want to do this properly, and I suggest that you do, here is the method that I want you to follow. Productize the repeatable. Your delivery process, your onboarding, your reporting, your SOPs, the boring operational spine that genuinely should be identical every single time. Protect the made for them work. The strategy, the creative judgment, the senior relationships, the thinking the client pays a premium for. That never ever goes into a box. That's you, that's intrinsically human. Of course, you can set guide rails, and you should always do that, but never at the mercy of the high level strategic work. Get those the wrong way around, productize a service and wing the system, and you become a cheap, inconsistent commodity. That's the worst of both worlds, and weirdly, it's exactly where a lot of the productized advice out there is quietly pushing agencies. Here's what I want you to do this week. Take your single most delivered service, the one that you sell the most, the one that's got the most sales in your business right this second. Don't touch how you sell it or what you charge. Leave the outside exactly as it was. Instead, map the delivery into its stages from the moment they say yes to the moment you hand over the final work. Then run that map and mark every stage 1 or 2 colors. Green for the steps that are identical on every single job, the setup, the formatting, the reporting, the chasing. Red on the other side that genuinely needs your judgment, the strategy, the creative calls, the real client conversation. The green is your system. That's the part you make repeatable and eventually hand off. The red is your service. That's what stays yours and keeps you premium. That one map, spreading those two apart, your best-selling service split into green and red, is where productizing this system actually begins. Do it for your top offer, then the next, and you're building a business that scales without you ever cheapening what you sell. If you want to know how much your delivery still depends on you personally and how systemized it actually is, that's one of the things my agency valuation scorecard measures. It takes just 2 minutes and it covers 8 areas of your business, and it shows you straight away where the bottleneck is in your agency. And when you do it, you also get free access to my Selling Creative Services course. I normally sell this for £400, but I'd rather get it into your hands and help you break the next 10, 20 or 30k per month than charge you for it. It's at moveapace.com/agency-valuation. The link, as always, is in the description. And in the comments below, tell me which one of the services you'd systemize the delivery of first, and if you've productized the wrong thing before and felt it, tell me what happened, because somebody else reading those comments will genuinely get the value from them. Thank you as always for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.